Now, I don't really do unboxings most of the time anymore due to subscriber demand. I asked and you answered, and the majority said they want to get straight to the review. But in this case, I thought I would do a real quick unboxing of the CVJ CSA. And the reason I wanted to show you this unboxing is because this is a $20 IEM. $20. And already, I don't know if you can tell, but that is one solid looking little box. Check this out. Have a look at that. That's actually wooden box or lightweight MDF or whatever. But just look at that. 20 bucks for the set. This is a hybrid dual driver. It's got one dynamic driver and one balanced armature driver. Oh wow. You get a Velcro cable tie and you get a nice little fabric carrying pouch. And here be the cable. Looks to be, yeah, fairly common generic type cable, but pretty good. Remember, this is a $20 earphone, but I don't know what they sound like, but that is pretty impressive right from the get-go. I do hope these sound good. If they do, there's a really good chance they'll end up on my top list, because I love good value like this, and that's why we love Chi-Fi so much. Anyway, I'll go and have a listen to these, and I'll be back in a few days to let you know how they sound. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. Welcome to another review. Here is the CVJ CSA. I've got it in the white. It also comes in black. Now these are selling for about $20, but I actually saw them on AliExpress today on sale for $17. That is crazy. That's nuts. All right. So in terms of build, they look a lot similar to the nice HCK NX7 Pro. They're very similar to that. Pretty nice build. Transparent shell. You can see the dynamic driver and the balanced armature driver inside. Good ridge on the nozzle to keep hold your ear tips securely. There's a light carbon fiber pattern on the faceplate and 2-pin connector. That is the shell, nice and lightweight, great build quality. As far as comfort goes, these are really good. I can wear them all day long. Noise isolation is pretty good as well. Now let's quickly look at the cable. It is not a bad cable, not a great cable. It's a very generic type black insulation. It's got aluminium 3.5mm plug and the matching aluminium wire split. That is the cable. It handles quite well. There's no significant microphonics. So with that out of the way, let's move right onto the sound. These actually sound really darn good. I've been enjoying them a lot. You know, for some reason, whenever I'm listening to these, I keep thinking back to the Blonde BL03. For some reason, it just reminds me always of those, even though the sound does have significant differences, which I will talk about a bit more later on. All right, let's talk about the sound. I will throw up the frequency response here. Now, it's a warm sounding IEM. It's very warm. It's a fairly upfront presentation. It's quite a thick sound, but at the same time, the clarity is really good. It's not a muddy or a dark sound. In terms of bass, these hit pretty hard when it comes to bass, both sub bass and mid bass. So you get a nice rumble in your ears when there's sub bass going on. And for the mid bass, it's quite a thick bass, and it's a real sort of a thumpy bass. In terms of technicalities, the mid bass is a little bit woolly. It doesn't have the best definition, or it doesn't have the best sort of slam. It's got a sort of a soft leading edge. But we're talking about a $20 earphone, so just keep that in mind throughout this review. It's always important to keep that in context. But yeah, I actually enjoy the bass. It's nice to get back to an IEM that is a little bit, more weighted in the low end. I appreciate that every now and then, and that's what this does. All right, talking about the mid-range, yeah, the CSA mid-range it's quite thick. It has a lot of warmth. There's warmth carried over from the bass in there, and it's a very musical mid-range. It's not a really technical one. It kind of smooths things over a bit. That's a really hard word to say, smooths. So it's quite smooth in the mid-range, and so they're forgiving for poorly mastered or poorly recorded tracks. And it's a very sonorous, vibrant, and rich mid-range. So vocals are full-bodied and they're quite upfront. It's not a recessed mid-range. It's up there. It does sit behind the bass, definitely, but at the same time, the mids I wouldn't call recessed. They're very full-bodied, quite forward. But overall, I like the rich mid-range. It's a nice change. They're just a very musical, enjoyable earphone. Now, when we get to the treble, I really like the treble tuning on these. It's kind of forward. It has to be in order to counterbalance that powerful bass. But it's a very sweet treble at the same time. It's not harsh. There's no sibilance whatsoever. It is a little bit airy, and it's just really well done. Quite good treble extension. There's a bit of a dip at around 6 to 7 kilohertz, so it avoids any sibilance there. And there's another dip at 10 kilohertz, if I remember correctly. And what that does, it just maintains a good timbre, and it gives you a nice lively treble, but one that's very smooth at the same time. And there's enough of it there to provide clarity to the mid-range, so your mid-range doesn't get veiled or muddy, and it's not too dark. So the treble is another strong point of these. I would say the weakest point is probably the thickness of the bass. It's just a bit woolly and a bit lacking in definition. But like I said, for a $20 earphone, you just can't expect too much, and I'm not going to be overly critical of something at this price point. So that is the sound. Now, I mentioned that these remind me of the Blonde BL03, and I have those here. And I'll just quickly talk about the differences. The Blonde here, it has less bass and it has a faster bass. So the bass has more definition, a bit more texture, and it's not as dominant as it is on the CSA. And in the mid-range on the Blonde is not as forward as the CSA. The CSA is more full-bodied, and it has a warmer mid-range with thicker notes. So although the BL03 here has a fairly forward mid-range, it's more forward on the CSA. When it comes to treble, they're kind of similar. The CSA has a bit more forward treble. The treble is a bit more lifted, but that's a necessity because it has that extra bass weight on the other end. So you really need a little bit of a more powerful treble to counterbalance that. Otherwise, you'll just end up with a thick, dark mess. But like I was saying before, the treble is done really well on these, and it got good extension, and it's got airiness, and it brings a lightness to the treble it brings a lightness to the tonality without being sharp. Of course, the BL03 has better overall resolution. There's better instrument separation, and you can sort of pick music apart better with the BL03. It's not as rich in the mid-range. It's not as thick or sonorous. Every now and then it even sounds a little bit thin in the mid-range compared to these when you're listening to them side by side. But keep in mind that these are significantly more expensive. They do go on sale, but I think now they're about $29. But if you are like me and a lot of other people, I cannot wear these with this cable because of that angled connector there. It forces them to an unnatural angle in my ears, and it just doesn't work for me. So for a lot of people, including me, you need to buy an additional cable, which increases the cost. And the stock tips that come with the BL03 are garbage, basically. So you'll probably have to buy tips as well. So that makes the CSA here look like a better, it is a great bargain, basically. It's just a great bargain. I'm going to wrap it up. I think I've been rambling. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. To sum up, I really like these. I've actually really enjoyed the last few days listening primarily to these. They're great for traveling and being on the move. You got that nice rich bass that you can hear when you're out and about. They've got a nice lively treble that adds a bit of detail and clarity, but it's not fatiguing at all. You can wear them all day, listen to them all day without any trouble. And I think that for $20, these are a really good buy. So if you're on a tight budget, these come highly recommended. And in fact, I will be putting these on my best IEMs list, which you can check at the website. There's a link to the website in the description below. So make sure to check that out. And that's about it for this review, guys. Don't forget, I've got a Discord channel going on, so if you want to talk to me in person or talk to the other PAR fam, jump on the Discord, link in the description, and follow me on Instagram if you want to see some more photos. Of course, there's a more detailed reviews are always on the website, the written reviews. And yeah, that's about it. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, PAR fam audiophile style. If you are not subscribed and you want to see more reviews like this in the future, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you later.